Needle Wrestling back at you off one of the best, arguably the best Monday Night Raw of all time, or what do they just call it, Raw now? I don't know if they call it Monday Night anymore. But I remember, if you harken back to the Attitude Era, guys, I remember going to school in high school and Raw being the coolest thing. Like you wore an Austin 316 shirt, you were cool. You weren't talking about Monday Night Football the next day. You were talking about Raw. Of course, that's the Attitude Era. Wrestling's in this new golden age right now, but I don't think Raw has had that feeling in a minute. And last night's show, between the opening promo with the Rock's entrance and the Whisper, the Drew McIntyre CM Punk showdown, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, and then what The Rock did at the end, busting Cody open, to me, makes it one of the most memorable one I can remember.
Well, I'll just say this. That was an incredible episode. And I feel like, yes, it was an incredible Raw, and it's honestly should go down as one of the best ever. But you forget, we used to get episodes like this all the time where all your heavy hitters showed up every week. This was one of the first times in WWE, in recent WWE history, where everyone showed up. You had CM Punk, you had The Rock, you had Cody Rhodes, you have Seth Rollins. All your heavy hitters were available. But we've been stuck in this WWE where guys show up or gals show up rarely, that when it finally does happen, now it's like, oh, it's the greatest ever. We used to get Austin, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker every single week, where these were the norm. Like, we're in a different time right now. So that's why I think the hype of last night hit so well, but that doesn't take away. That was still one of the best episodes of Raw you will ever see. But let's not forget, we used to get bangers like this on the regular.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we're on the road to WrestleMania, so the guns are out. Everybody's doing their thing. And the thing that I'm very excited about is they're doing a great job of building every match individually, making them all feel special, making them all feel unique. Normally it's just like, what's the main event? What are we building to with, John Cena or with, Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, whoever that marquee match was. And then everything else was just kind of like filling in the blanks on like a pay-per-view card. Whereas this, it's like, every match, Rhea Becky feels like a main event. Drew Seth feels like a main event, including CM Punk now feels like, adding to that main event. Cody's obviously with Rowan and Rock and all that stuff is incredible. Even the tag team stuff has felt really special. The only one I'm a little bit out on is Sammy versus Gunther. I feel it's forced, but we can talk about that later if you want. So for me, that's the thing, is like, they're doing such a great job building to those. And yeah, for me, wrestling from January, the Royal Rumble, to April, first week into April, whenever WrestleMania is, that time is always the best every year for wrestling, because that's when everything's going to get ramped up. From April to January, it's kind of like, all right, well, how do we fill in the cracks till we get to the Royal Rumble again? So, yeah, we're just in that like really sweet spot of wrestling.
But, I disagree with just because people showed up. It's not just because they were there. It's what they did and the intent behind it. We're heading for an Avengers Endgame WrestleMania. Night 2 is going to be an absolute cluster. I don't know. It's going to be Bloodline rules, because Rock and Roman are winning on night 1. You're going to get Bloodline rules, and then people are going to come as the cavalry for Cody as well, and all hell is going to break loose. You already got people speculating the glass is going to break and Stone Cold is going to show up. Who knows what's going to happen? But there are a few factors to this episode and what made it special. Number 1, I'll give Gina's flowers on this, and I love
finally.
The Rock. Well, finally, I love The Rock when the Rock was in his heyday. Don't get me wrong, but Hollywood Rock, not Hollywood Rock like heel Hollywood Rock, but like Hollywood off in Hollywood, coming back and doing Rudy Poo catchphrases didn't really do it for me for a long time. Whatever happened here to activate this final boss character has solidified The Rock as the greatest of all time. I don't think anybody else can even be in the discussion anymore. And then on top of that, you had Punk and Drew shooting on each other in a sense. Like, that really felt like riffing by those two guys. That was magic. And then the Rhea and Becky promo was awesome too. Becky really brought it. And Rhea saying, "Your daughter's going to call me mommy," is one of the coldest lines of all time.
Well, yeah, I'm going to jump in here right now because I know you guys are going to shoot on it, but I don't care. I thought the first Cody promo was excellent. I thought the way he interacted with the crowd, and this is like, to me, where like true like old school wrestling can like dial in. His work as like just a true babyface to me was so good, so captivating. Every time he's on screen and he talks, by now you should just be kind of like, oh God, this freaking guy, get out of here. He does such an amazing job to me of capturing the crowd, and not just the crowd, but the people watching on television. I was so like goosebump and like emotionally invested watching him talk about like, this is all of us. We're going to do this together. It's not just me. Like the crowd pointing at like the sign should have been cheesy as hell, but it wasn't to me. It actually was like very touching. And I don't know that maybe it's just
what the part of that mattered was the Rock's music hitting when he looked at the sign. Then the Rock's music hit, and that entrance is so sick with the lightning bolts and everything on the screen.
You got this.
Come on.
You got "This is awesome" holy-ish chants, and the man didn't say a single word. This is aura we're talking about. But I'll go back to what Robin was saying as far as what these guys and gals did last night. They got physical. We saw people get hands put on each other last night, which there have been nothing but promos and promos and promos. Rhea and Becky finally put hands on each other. That was dope. We saw The Rock beat the brakes out of Cody Rhodes. That was dope. Seth put a curb stomp on Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre got him back by the end of the night. We saw actual action last night. Instead, the time for talking has been done. And I thought that like I said it last week, that all these promos were getting really, really boring. And if there's anything that can save Roman Reigns leading up to WrestleMania, you got to put hands on somebody, man. You got to join the party because right now you're the only guy that hasn't been touched, that hasn't done anything to anyone. So if there's a saving grace for Roman Reigns to get, because right now people are looking at him as a side character, which he is right now. Let's be real. I don't care how big of a Roman fan anyone is right now. You cannot tell me Roman Reigns looks credible heading into WrestleMania. But if the tribal chief is going to start beating people up, then you can start taking him seriously. But right now, like, it's time to get physical, and folks have been doing that.
I don't think they're going to fumble that. Look what they built over so long. They know what they're doing. They're not going to just like let that go. I'm not even sure Roman loses now, by the way, when we get to WrestleMania. I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion. But regardless, think about how quickly we shift when we're talking about these things. Where, Gene, I know we were texting after SmackDown. You talk about how much of a letdown it is. And then it's like, Raw is amazing. Now you
know why Raw was amazing. Why are we
still have another SmackDown and we still have another Raw before WrestleMania? They're going to get that stuff involved. Roman will get physical. I still think they're going to plant more friction between Roman and The Rock coming up. All that stuff, they're calculated in the way they're building this now. I don't think he's being cast to the side.
Forget Roman and The Rock. They need to build beef between Cody and Roman. That match is becoming like secondary to me. That's crazy. Like that's your biggest match of the whole weekend. And quite frankly, to me, that's the one that I'm the least interested in right now because
because of the end game aspect of it. And all hell is going to break loose in that match. Seth is going to be involved. Jay is going to be involved.
We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. But if we're going on paper, I see where Seth is coming from. If we're on paper, as we still got to see it play out. But Seth, I get what you're saying. Until it actually happens right now, and I'm going to night 2. And I'm like, damn, should I switch it for night 1? Because right now, the tag match is the bigger match, man. Seeing Rock and Cody, something fresh that we haven't seen, to me, that's WrestleMania, bro. We already saw Roman and Cody last year.
But it feels to me like Infinity War Endgame. It's an ensemble WrestleMania rather than you're not. I mean, traditionally, I would agree. And I did a video on it saying, it feels like Rock and Cody is the main event, not Cody and Roman. But the more this unfolds, the more I realize like it's all part of it, right? Like all of these characters are all going to be involved simultaneously on both nights, and it's all going to come to a head.
Yes, and you're right. Listen, Goldust could show up, or Dustin Rhodes, MJF. There could be 1,000 surprises, and it would be incredible, and we'll all lose our minds, and it'll be amazing. But the way they're building it for me is just like I'm invested in the tag team match, and I'm like ready for that. But you still have to build some more to Cody and Roman. And like Roman to me, he's like, this is how I feel. He's an afterthought of this. Like he has become a tertiary character in this story. Like Cody is the main guy, Rock is the final boss, big bad, and Roman's easily third on the list. He's going down to like Seth level, and that's a problem. He's the champion. He should be the guy that we're focusing on, but we're just not. He's
again. I think I don't totally disagree, but I think he's going to come through and establish himself again. But even
too much damage has been done.
But Gene, the words he's using are effective because you're using them.
Hold on. First of all, I used it until The Rock came out. Before The Rock came out. I have not thought about Roman Reigns since The Rock ended last night. What are we talking about?
You said Cody is a politician
before The Rock came out. What are we talking about?
Words that Roman used on Friday.
That was before The Rock came out, Robin. Look at the timestamp, bro. That was before The Rock came out.
Okay, it doesn't matter whether it was.
Yes, it doesn't matter. You know who doesn't matter? That championship doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if it was before The Rock came out.
No, yes, it does, because guess what? Right now, that title doesn't mean a thing right now. Roman Reigns is a secondary character in his own story. The Rock has turned him into a side piece, and that's not even you can't even debate that at this point. And you keep saying, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Well, guess what's been happening? The Rock and Cody Rhodes have taken the storyline to a whole nother level. We got blood last night, we got curse words on live television, we got a dude getting his butt whoop last night. And where is the champion? What you just called it probably the greatest Raw ever. Where is your champion? Like, that makes no sense.
Well, I mean, look, plenty of great episodes have happened without
Stone Cold involved. What are we talking about? Without the heavy hitters, without the champ involved? Name one. Name a great episode.
I told you it was the best one I can remember.
That just shows how much the WWE has been able to thrive with The Rock.
Are we sure Roman ain't winning and breaking Hogan's record?
He's not winning. It's Cody, man.
Cody and Rock at SummerSlam. Cody beats Roman at Survivor Series, and then Rock and Roman next WrestleMania.
There's no universe.
If anything, I'm more convinced now that you're going to build the Cody and Rock at some point, and then you'll eventually get to Rock Roman down the line.
Yeah. Cody's taking that title from Roman, man, because at this point he doesn't need it. At this point, you don't. It's not being used. The title, you cannot have your title look this irrelevant for this long. There's no way. It doesn't make sense.
Let's be honest. When Cody does win the championship, because I believe he will. And here's the thing: what Rock whispered to him very well could have been, "I'm going to help you beat the Roman."
No. He said, "I'm going to make you bleed." He said tonight, "I'm going to make you bleed." That's what he said.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, he said tonight, "I'm going to make you bleed."
Interesting. All right, I didn't see that. So, regardless, when Cody wins the title, it will be important because Cody's going to finish his story. He's going to be now the champion, and it's going to start a new chapter of like, okay, people chasing him. But like, once that happens, I think most people will say, cool, I want to get to SummerSlam where potentially it's going to be Cody versus Rock.
I want to see Cody versus Rock, but I don't want to see anything else with a Cody title reign. There's nothing about a Cody title reign that's interesting to me.
You can't say that as a Roman Reigns fan who's literally done nothing in the last year.
Roman Reigns has carried the WWE for 3 years.
What has he done? No, not in the last 365
not in the last
days.
3 months. But for
not in the last year. Cody Rhodes has been the face, man. Where do you think that we want Cody chance came from?
If the night after Mania, Cody Rhodes is standing tall with the championship, and you hear that Imperium music, and Gunther comes out, and Gunther's his #1 contender, you're going to tell me you're not going to be excited for Cody versus Gunther?
No, look, I'm excited for the whole thing. I don't care which way it goes, to be honest with you. I'm happy with it any which way, because I think they've just done an incredible job, and I'm not, I think all the characters, even the ones I've criticized, have really done well in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about it. I don't have much to nitpick or much to complain about. I mean, as fans, we should all be over the moon right now.
Here's my thing. Anyone who says Cody Rhodes' reign is going to be boring after Mania, you just said it. Let's give WWE the benefit of the doubt. They literally pivoted to what you guys think was a pivot, the greatest pivot in pro wrestling history. I think it's all been a work.
Roman said it was a pivot on McAfee.
Huh? Who said it was a pivot?
Roman.
Well, he's playing a character. Of course he's going to say that. He didn't say pivot. He did not say pivot.
Did.
No. This is all the work.
He said that the vocal minority who were bitching for Cody Rhodes ruined The Rock.
Oh, and they planted that bitching. What are you talking about? They planted it. It's all been a huge work. You guys can say that. Regardless, whether you guys think it's a pivot or not, they have done an amazing job. So to say, oh, Cody Rhodes is going to be boring after he wins the title, I don't think so. I think Cody Rhodes has shown he can hang with the big boys. And to me, I didn't think so. Promo-wise, I still think he needs work. But as far as just taking a beating last night and garnering sympathy, these are traits that a babyface, to me, that's been my favorite part of seeing Cody Rhodes, is how he just takes a whooping. And when he's in that ring, you can feel it. To me, the best version of Cody Rhodes is when he's actually in the action, where he's getting beat up or he's in the ring. So to me, I can't wait to see his title reign after WrestleMania.
That's why I was so glad he lost last year. And I think no matter what anybody says, that was the right decision.
No,
because yeah, I really do. I think
you don't get then what happened to Roman Reigns?
He had to persevere and overcome obstacles. It's exactly what you're talking about.
It hurt Roman Reigns in the long run, bro. Roman Reigns has done absolutely nothing.
I disagree.
He's done nothing. You disagree?
Remember these last 2 months like that.
No one's gonna remember. No one's gonna remember him. What he did in these last 2 months.
That doesn't matter. They'll still remember.
Yes, it does matter. What do you talking? He's the champ. What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Bloodline rules because
it's the Rock rules, bro. It's the Rock rules. I don't want to hear nothing about no bloodline. Roman, he's the Rock's cousin, bro. At this point,
is He's the Rock's tribal chief. He acknowledged.
No, he's not.
My point is that Cody needed to overcome obstacles. He needed to go through that, the hero's journey, and we're seeing that right now. And Sep, it makes no logical sense for The Rock to turn on Cody. I mean, I think that's part of the reason they did what they did last night, because he beat the shit out of him. He's not doing that to turn on Roman. I mean, to turn in benefit of Cody.
That's a very fair.
We saw Hulk Hogan run an ambulance into The Rock as soon as the match was over, they shook hands. Like, we're in different times here. Like, The Rock can flip in a second. Even if he helps Cody beat Roman Reigns in a handshake, everyone's gonna forget about this beatdown. Like, wrestling fans are super fickle.
It'll be a better storyline though if The Rock doesn't turn on Roman, because that way you can then eventually have like Roman being upset, or Roman trying to say he's the biggest star, and Rock coming out, and there can be friction. Like, you could build that feud between the two of them instead of just a quick turn and now we want to see it. Like, you have time to tell a new story between the two of them, which quite frankly is what I always wanted. I wanted to see a good story between The Rock and Roman that's more nuanced, and I think they could do that down the line. And so, yeah, you're right. That does make more sense storyline wise for Rock to be out there, and like he just gets his comeuppance from Cody, and Cody overcomes all this with whatever chicanery is going to happen. Like, and you have Cody standing tall over everybody, because that means that Cody has defeated the bloodline. He has defeated the tribal chief. He has defeated the final boss. He's defeated everybody to stand victorious and earned that title, which will feel so freaking special.
Last thing before we move on to the next topic, what do you guys make of this and everybody speculating about the truck that was shown with Stone Cold and John
Total
Cena?
Coincidence. So we're gonna freak out because Trish Stratus was on that truck as well at one point. Like,
oh,
give me a break.
Oh, you're bugging. Oh, that
you
definitely
guys are
means
insane.
something.
Everyone's looking for the most like, are John Cena and Stone Cold going to be at Mania? Very possible. They're two of the biggest stars in the history of the company. They can obviously be there in some capacity, but to say like that was like, you know, some like foreboding, like, oh, they're going to be in the match. Like, I think people are grasping at straws. I think there's a much better chance that we might actually get to see Dustin Rhodes, and I'm praying.
Wait, you want to see Dustin Rhodes over the
Dustin Rhodes is Cody's brother. He is family.
He can get the work too, bro.
Yeah,
he can get the belt too, man.
The Rhodes family is in comparison. Then
I am praying.
Oh, they're not gonna stand Dustin Rhodes in front of the Rock, bro.
And let's
Goldust.
Yeah, Goldust. What are we doing? No, dude. But I'll say that I don't think that truck. Can we bring that up again? I don't think that's an accident, man. I think like. The reason I say this, remember, back in Survivor Series, I don't know if you guys saw, WWE left the Easter egg on CM Punk that people were like, hey, could this be the reason why CM Punk could show up at Survivor Series? And it ended up happening. This was definitely intentional. Look at the framing of this, man. Like, this was not an accident. I don't know what role they're going to be in, but I fully expect to see Austin and Cena at WrestleMania. And the fact that they decided to show it during this segment, the biggest segment of the night, I think, like, I'm with Robin as far as night 2 being a complete cluster, because who would thrive more in this chaos more than Stone Cold Steve Austin? Like, he's literally built for this kind of action. So if I would love to see Austin come in, hit a couple stunners on somebody, see Cody Rhodes finish the story. To me, that's what it is.
That might be the biggest pop of all time. If the glass breaks in the middle of Cody getting a beatdown,
the crowd is going to go crazy.
Biggest, like, from a decimal measuring level.
Yeah, I can see it happening. It's not out of the realm, man.
Here's the only thing: it doesn't get a little too wild because you're bringing in guys who have had
who cares? Who cares? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like of all time.
Because of the pivot and the chaos, and the fact that it hasn't felt like a normal like Cody Roman build, like we were talking about before. Anything could go. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if MJF shows up. I really wouldn't. Maybe they save him for the Raw after, but he's been removed from the AEW roster page. I'm sure he had a non-compete, so there's a chance he was on the shelf getting healthy while his non-compete was expiring, so that he could come in and help Cody from that side of things.
If MJF shows up at WrestleMania, I'm gonna probably cry tears. I'll be so excited. Like, that would be incredible. But I still think that's a pipe dream as well.
This has been one of the craziest. Everything just feels random. They're just throwing stuff at the wall right now, and it's working. So why not? You know what I mean? Like, this makes no sense. Roman's not involved. There's so many things you can poke holes in his storyline, but who cares because the characters are showing up. Like this is
it would be pretty funny though if they're going for that like ridiculousness and like everything, and then all of a sudden like Rikishi's music hits and he pops out, and everyone's
right?
like, "What the heck is going on?"
But he could be in the Jay and Jimmy match, I think.
He could be, but I'd rather save it for like him, the Bloodline, bring him out like it's like doing a stink face on Cody. Like if you're gonna go off the wall, go truly off the wall.
I think that's what they're prepping. I thought last night was a taste, man. You kind of saw a semi-brawl last night, and now night 2 WrestleMania, Bloodline rules. Just bring everybody, man. If you bring the whole locker room out there, man.
That's why I think in retrospect, we might look back on the SmackDown a little bit more favorably because I think it started to open up those doors. But regardless, to Gene's point, a lot of this stuff has felt intentional, and things that you had said before would never happen happened, including CM Punk coming back at Survivor Series. And they did a really good job with CM Punk on this episode. Well, CM Punk did a really good job because look, he was in his natural habitat when he's cutting promos on the mic. He had a few really, really good lines in there that maybe only he took a shot at The Rock. Arms are too short to box with God. He had the line about his mouth still working and the innuendo Vince there. And then he had the Vince reference, who liked you. And then I thought, I got to give Drew McIntyre a ton of credit because Drew McIntyre in the past, I would have told you were nuts if you would have said he could hold his own in a promo battle off the cuff with CM Punk, but he damn sure did. And he had one-liners that were clearly ad-libbed, like clearly on the spot, ad-lib like the PG, be careful, it's PG. Drew McIntyre's low-key hilarious. And I thought that segment really, really worked. And I think Drew is primed to beat Seth to set up that eventual CM Punk feud.
100%. I've forever we've been in that whole like everything's scripted, everything you watch is like, and we very well could be worked, but like I just feel like we're in a new world now where they're kind of like, here are the bullet points you have to hit. We trust you, do your jobs. And like, because some of the stuff they were saying to me was just so off the cuff and felt so back and forth, like reactionary, that I was like, man, there's no way they scripted this word for word. There's just not. Seth a little differently. His felt a little more I don't say robotic, but like a little more scripted, but still very good. But yeah, like listen, Punk is legitimately top 5 ever on the microphone. And Drew did an incredible job stepping up because in the ring, Drew's amazing. And on the mic, he's been very good. But last night, he was truly special. So credit to him. He's an all-around amazing wrestler. And whether he wins or not, and I don't think he's going to, I still think Judgment Day is going to cash in on Seth and take the title because that's how you're going to have that like thing from night 1 because you can't put it on night 2 or it'll get buried. And I also think ending night 1 with Damian Priest holding the title would be pretty exciting. Yeah, overall, that match between Drew and Seth needed CM Punk because it's felt stale. And both of them have been kind of like, we kind of knew Punk was supposed to be in that match. And now both of them, we'd rather see Punk versus Seth and Punk versus Drew than Drew versus Seth.
Well, I'll say this, I found it super interesting because of the fact that this whole time Drew's been talking to Seth saying, you're distracted. You're going to be distracted. Like, focus on this match. But as soon as CM Punk comes around, Drew gets caught slipping and Seth hits him with a curb stomp. So I don't know if Drew's going to win with CM Punk that close to the proximity, to be honest with you. I could easily see CM Punk distracting Drew as Drew's ready to win the title, gets caught slipping, Seth wins, and then you see Damian Priest come in and cash in. I don't know if Drew ends his story. That's why this ending, that adding CM Punk to me has been an underrated MVP in this entire saga, and that includes the bloodline. Because if he doesn't get hurt, I don't know where we go right now. But I was so happy that they got him involved, and I agree with y'all, man. Last night just felt like, dog, this feels personal, man. Like they were interrupting each other mid bars, and I thought my favorite line was the rehab line that Drew said on
really good
on Punk. But last night, what those guys did magic. And I'll say one more thing as far as Seth Rollins, he just feels so much more important when he's in the vicinity of CM Punk. Like there was no games, there was no laughing, it was straight bars. Like, I don't rock with you, bro, and I can't wait till you get back so I can punch your face in. And to me, that's Seth Rollins. I can't wait for him to turn heel because I think that's the direction we're gonna go regardless. But Seth Rollins and CM Punk, like, there's certain guys that just makes that when you put them together, it just feels special to me. Whenever that happens, Seth and CM Punk is going to be magic, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah, look, you got to give CM Punk credit. Now, can he stay healthy long enough? That's the biggest issue because I think CM Punk and Seth is exciting. I think CM Punk and Drew is exciting. And I think potentially CM Punk and Roman is very exciting because if you remember when CM Punk first came back, he alluded to Roman and the crowd really popped. And on McAfee on Friday, Roman had the line about like, I got to the top and I didn't look around. It wasn't exactly what I wanted and bitched about it like CM Punk. Like there's friction there that I think could lead to something special as well. But speaking of things getting personal, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, the other matches got their just due, like you were saying, Sep, in this build here, because it felt so Rock and Cody focused. And now we're talking Avengers Endgame. But Drew and Seth feels like it matters. And now to me, Rhea and Becky feels like it matters. Becky really stepped up to the plate. I thought she had the promo skills sharpened. She had the presentation ready to go. And she showed why she's one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT. And Rhea Ripley responded back with, in that character that's so great. And that line about your daughter's going to call me mommy, that's like one of those ones that I don't think you forget. Like you'll remember that line. That's an all-time kind of drop on Becky Lynch.
100%. Becky Lynch was incredible last night. And I don't know, like maybe some people will resonate, but if you're a parent, and I am, I know Robin, you are, when you bring your kid into something, it's just so much more personal. And and I don't love bringing kids into stuff, but like just that line, and you could see how much it meant with like talking about her dad, like all that stuff, it like legitimately gave me goosebumps. And I was almost on the verge of tears because I was like, damn, like you just feel it through the screen, how much this means to her. And like, that is what makes wrestling special. When you can connect to a wrestler and like understand what they're saying and feel what they're feeling through a television screen, that's when you're making magic. And for me, last night, that promo was magic. The punch to Dom was incredible. What a cross. She caught him square on the jaw. Like everything about that was awesome. They've done a great job of using Nia Jax to kind of like build around this match to get us to this point. But now we're fully focused on the main event of the two of them. And that match feels like a true main event.
Yeah, I wasn't big on this match when it was first announced. I will say Becky Lynch, she is one of the best on the mic, and she did bring some prestige to the matchup, to be honest. Because I also don't like the fact that like Rhea Ripley, to the point where we don't see her enough as far as, I know she does the live shows and all that, but I wish we saw more physicality. But last night they finally did it, which is why I thought the segment went as well as it did, because had they just said those bars and just walked away, it would have been like, all right, that was cool. I guess we got to wait another 2 weeks. But the fact that you ended it so well, to me, that's where it's going to resonate. They had the words, they got physical. And to me, I still think I think we all expect Rhea to win. That's why I wish there was some sort of stipulation in this match, since it did get so personal. We've seen Becky kind of do these last woman standing matches. I'd love to see that, just a little more element, because we know they can wrestle. But let's put something on, as far as let's add a stipulation there just to put it a little more over the top. But overall, they've done their job, man. Like, it's going to be one of the highlights of WrestleMania, and you can't ask for more.
Yeah, I think it maybe should open night too. That's the Needle Wrestling. Great all-time Raw episode. Oh, before we get out, I do want to give one other person a shout out, Ricochet. Ricochet, if he was better on the mic and as a character, maybe he'd be in a different stratosphere. But as far as just like in-ring work and how impressive it is, he is it. And he did some of those moves that I think AEW fans